Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Kawhi Leonard case. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So about a week or so ago, we had produced a bunch of shows where we're talking about the scandals surrounding Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers, Steve Ballmer, and everyone involved. There was a scandal that broke that was actually revealed to us by Pablo Torre of Pablo Torre Finds Out, where he essentially said that there may have been some salary cap circumvention that was taking place between Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers, that Kawhi Leonard signed on to be one of the mascots for or one of the faces for the company called Aspiration. And I think one of the stipulations within his contract was that he needed to be he could be a no-show and still collect up to $28 million. And then you had that, and then you had the coincidence of Steve Ballmer investing in the company. And then later on we found out, I think he invested $48 million, and then we're hearing that Kawhi was owed $50 million. And it was just one thing after the other. Then he went on ESPN to speak to Ramona Shelburne. I'm talking about Ballmer. He made his comments there. Of course, Kawhi Leonard has taken a hit reputationally. His reputation is in the dumpster right now because a lot of people feel like he was a dirty guy. Then you had some NBA players coming out kind of just in his defense, like Shannon Fry, Kendrick Perkins, Richard Jefferson, where Kendrick Perkins essentially said this kind of stuff happens all the time in sports. And then Adam Silver himself commented on it, which now led to some comments that Rob Parker made. But essentially what Adam Silver was saying is like the burden of proof is on the NBA, right? Because these accusations are being levied at these guys, so we have to prove that that is true, right? And circumstantial evidence isn't enough. So when it came time for Rob Parker to weigh in on the situation, he didn't hide his feelings, and he gave a pretty chilling prediction of what he feels is going to happen and what will be the ultimate outcome. Take a listen to what Rob Parker had to say yesterday on The Odd Couple.
And as you mentioned, Rob, Adam Silver was asked about it yesterday. And Adam Silver, despite calls from a lot of people saying, hey, bring the hammer, shut it down, basically said, hey, innocent until proven guilty. We got to let this thing play out. We'll see what the investigation reveals.
And this is par for the course for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
They'd rather not. And people say, well, look what they did to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was totally different. There was a memo. Baseball went through that when they colluded against free agents. Remember that? And they wrote a memo, don't sign any players.
Yeah.
Well, you got paperwork. You're losing in court, right? If you got paperwork. The NBA, unlike some of the other leagues, have always kind of like, we don't want to know, we kind of move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they haven't punished some people, but not big name people. Contrary, when you come to baseball and the NFL is a little different. NFL is always what? About protecting the shield.
Yep.
Major League Baseball has kicked out or banned some of the biggest names in the game. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens. I mean, you can't get bigger than Pete Rose, right? As far as so the NBA, to me, it feels like, just from the way Adam Silver was talking, that they'd rather not. And unless there's something that directly, because it's circumstantial, it is. The numbers add up, whatever. I get all that, but it's always that can't always get you a conviction. Circumstance. You gotta have a smoking gun. You gotta have some sort of written agreement or something that states that this money was for that. Here's what we're gonna do, and that's why we talked about it before with the NFL and Colin Kaepernick. That's why they didn't want to go to court with Colin Kaepernick. Discovery.
Yeah.
Texts, emails. Ask John Gruden about emails, right? And stuff. Those are the smoking gun. That's why John Gruden lost his job, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had something. So in this case, I do not believe that anything will happen severe without a smoking gun for the Clippers.
Great. So you heard what Rob Parker had to say. Rob is essentially saying, from my understanding, that the NBA isn't going to do anything about this, right? They're not going to do anything about this. The NBA does have some kind of, they have a stigma around them where things aren't 100%. They're not doing everything by the book. There was some comments that were made this summer after the Lakers got Luka Doncic in that confounding trade. Then out of nowhere, the Dallas Mavericks ended up with the #1 pick in the NBA draft for Cooper Flag. And a lot of people like, you got to be kidding me. Even LeBron James, the face of the NBA, came out and made jokes about it. Like this thing is a clown show, right? It's a clown show. You've had some comments that Shaq made. So there's always kind of been this speculation around the NBA of, these guys may not be as clean and pristine as we think that they are. So to hear what Adam Silver had to say in terms of Ballmer, one can understand why Rob Parker decided to take the position that he took. Look, there's a reality aspect to this thing. Steve Ballmer is among the 10 richest people in the world. Okay, he's the richest owner of a sports team in the United States, or I think in the world. So you don't just drop the hammer and say, oh, we're going to treat him the same way we treat everybody else. In reality, it doesn't work like that. Right? It just doesn't work like that. It does not work like that, right? You handle things with a little bit more tact. And to think that, the NBA is now going to be out on a witch hunt to come and get one of their owners because they did this and it's just not going to, it's not, I think you're being naive, right? I think you're being naive. Now, there's the other part of this, which is this has to be proven, right? It has to be proven. And Pablo Torre, he's investigating this situation heavily. And it doesn't help that Kawhi Leonard has a reputation of load managing and all. It doesn't help. All of these things don't help. If we were talking about a different player that had a better track record when it came to availability and all, then maybe people would be a little bit more skeptical of these reports. But people don't really seem to be giving Kawhi Leonard the benefit of the doubt. Now, some people have said, hey, man, why don't you talk about it as much? I personally believe that a lot of people don't really care. We've done, this will probably be the 6th or 7th video we produced about this story this month. And people don't really seem to care, right? People don't really seem to care as much as one would think, right? And ultimately, I don't think much is going to happen. It could happen, right? It could happen because Pablo's still conducting his investigation. It could happen, certainly. But I don't see it happening unless there's some conclusive evidence. There's a smoking gun. Then I can say, okay, something is going to happen for sure. But we cannot overlook the fact that Ballmer is who he is. It's just a part of life, man. When you're at that level, when you have that amount of wealth and influence, they don't just come for you like that, like as if you're just some regular Joe walking off the street. And whether if it's unfair, that's the reality of things. It's simply the reality of things. So this is my take on it. What I want to know from you guys, what do you think about what Rob Parker is saying here? Do you think he could be right, or do you think that no, if there was some wrongdoing, justice will be served? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you on the next show. Peace.